What's going on, everybody? All right, so let's talk about a few things. This whole DC and everything that they're starting to do with this reboot is completely insane. What's going on, Sean? Let me know if you hear me good. Doing a quick mic check before we get into this. So you already know how we do this, and we'll get to the point and stuff like that. So let me know. What up, Sean? Appreciate you for watching. All right, cool. All right, so look, let's talk about a few things with everything that's going on right now. All right, awesome. So this whole thing with James Gunn and the DCU and everything that's going on right now. Let's be honest. Like there is honestly no hope. And what's going on, Dennis? Appreciate you for watching. Just here hanging out with y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in and all that good stuff. So we'll get into it and we're going to talk and just chat and stuff. So drop your comments and we'll be going down as we talk about this. All right, so first things first, let's talk about the Batman 2. Look, the Batman 2 is completely a mess right now. It's been a mess for a while, and don't expect for it to actually get a little bit better because it's not. And rumors floating around that apparently they're going to do a Clayface movie. And what and why is this happening? Well, if you're looking at the side from where I'm coming from real quick, is let's be real. James Gunn doesn't care about Matt Reeves, and everything that's going on right now is just completely DOA. It's fully DOA. I want to be more positive. I want to tell you, hey, look, the future's looking hopeful, but it's not. It's starting off rough. It's starting off bad. It's starting off completely shaking, and everything is right now just crumbling before our own eyes. And because of course we have James Gunn that's right now in charge of DC Studios, and with that going on, it's completely a mess. It's completely DOA. Creature Commandos is not making the numbers that they thought they were gonna get viewership wise and stuff. It's just not working, and it's completely embarrassing. It's just a mess right now, and James Gunn is not going to allow Matt Reeves to do his Batman Part 2. I've been saying it for a while. Two things are going to come with that from Matt Reeves. In the end, James Gunn is just going to give two options to Matt Reeves: either you join the DCU, or we're just going to keep on delaying it until he fully walks out and everything gets completely canceled and stuff. And at the way that we're looking at this, that's what I think is going to happen, because they're right now delaying. Apparently there's another rumor going around that they might delay the Batman another extra year to 2027. This is just smelling, honestly, what WB usually does. They're allowing James Gunn to do whatever he wants, but at the same time, it's all completely, it's all catching up to them. And honestly, you know, it's just not good. That whole clay face that they're going to be doing apparently is going to be, I guess, like some type of horror type of movie. But then, James Gunn wants Matt Reeves' Batman to join the DCU, which we already know the DCU is going to be completely comedy. It's just going to be, Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff. And, there's nothing to really expect that's going to be wow. Everything is just going to be a copy and paste. And you can clearly see from the ads that they're using right now, with this whole announcement for Superman, the trailer that's coming out on Thursday, that James Gunn is just a copy and paste of Zack Snyder. If you look at that poster, it's completely a copy and paste of what Zack has already created in the past. And it's crazy. Think about it. Last year in 2023, right? It made 10 years since we got Man of Steel. 10 long years, a decade that we got introduced to Zack Snyder's Superman. And it's crazy how the studio did not really do anything. In those 10 years, we should have gotten a trilogy with Man of Steel, with Henry Cavill, and we wouldn't be in this situation. But here we are still fighting for the Snyderverse because we, the fans, will not move on. And we know what's up, And WB is about to feel financially the final blow, because at the box office, and not only at the box office of 2025 with Superman, but also with this trailer that's about to be released in a few days. Things are not going to make the numbers and the views that they expect. And it took Creature Commandos, what, like, I think over a month or something like that to reach 1 million views. That's terrible. Now with Superman, it's not going to reach those numbers, honestly. It's going to take a while. And, a lot of fans, not just the Snyder fans, a lot of fans have had enough with James Gunn. And we know it's just going to be all completely series is just going to completely be with James Gunn and his DCU. I have no hope, honestly. And like I said, ready that Armada, because on Thursday when it releases, a lot of people are going to hit that dislike button. And don't be surprised, like I've been saying for a while, WB might disable the dislike button. I'm telling y'all, they're gonna do like Disney. They're gonna try to censor the fans. Once that trailer goes up, you already know what you have to click on. And it's just, it is what it is at this point. And this whole thing with this Clayface thing going on, that they're approving and they're allowing, I'm like, come on, like that gets a green light. It's like completely picking and choosing with what they're trying to do. Exactly. This is going to be really bad. And that's what James Gunn is doing. He's just copying Zack Snyder, but just trying to implement the Marvel formula. This is going to prove to everybody, especially WB, the investors, everybody that's on the side that we don't see, the corporate side. Like, I'm telling you right now, it's about to go down with the investors and WB. Because when they see that nobody's really interested in that Superman and how things are not what they expected, they already know it's going to be DOA. They know, those investors know that they are not going to get back their return on investment. When it comes to this, that's something very important. When you spend, let's say, for example, $5, and you're promised, by the studio, hey, look, you put in $5 minimum, and you're gonna get back double. You're gonna be like, yeah, all right, cool. But after time, you don't see that return coming back. You're just gonna be like, yo, like, what's going on? And it's like, what's going on? Like, where's our money and stuff like that? So in the end, this is going to hurt WB on the long run. This has finally caught up to the studio. And this whole thing is just completely a mess. The DCU is going to be positive, cheerful, happy, comedy, raunchy, silly, everything that has to do like the Marvel formula if you want. But then Matt Reeves wants to do a dark, serious tone. How is that going to work? How? Like, that's what I'm telling you. In the end, James Gunn is going to make Matt Reeves walk away, and it's not going to happen. And that whole dynamic duo, chances are we might not even make it to see it with Matt Reeves. Probably by the time that comes around, well, they're pushing it to like 2027, 2028. Come on, like, we're not, this whole DCU is not going to last long. I'm telling y'all, it's not going to last long. It's funny at the same time because there's a lot of fans, and I get it. There's a little bit of fans that want what James Gunn is doing, and that whole route, whatever it is he's trying to do. There's just not enough support. There really is not. It's not making enough noise. It just really is not. And you can see it because I get the ads constantly from them, like on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And the views on their ads are low, extremely low. And, like, it's crazy, like Creature Commandos, the first official property of the DCU, is starting off bad. Next up on the flop squad is going to be Superman. There's no exception. That's going to tank. That's going to do worse than Joker 2. I wish I could tell you, hey, look, it's going to do big numbers. It's going to be, successful. But we've already seen James Gunn already has a history here at DC, with WB or whatever, with the Suicide Squad. No excuses. It flopped. It flopped at the box office. Peacemaker, trash. Like, I gave it 2 or 3 times to watch it and rewatch it, and I just couldn't. And that show pushed it when they disrespected the Justice League. Like, complete insult. And on top of that, it's okay for James Gunn to move forward with, Peacemaker John Cena, certain characters from the DCEU like Blue Beetle and Amanda Waller. And if it wasn't for David Ayer, we wouldn't have Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. So he gets to pick and choose who he wants to cross over to his new, DCU reboot, whatever you want to call it. And that's okay. That's fine. It just doesn't make sense. You can win on every side of the fence, if you want to say. Look, if I was in the position of James Gunn, I would be like, I'm gonna do the following. So if anybody on his team is listening, this is how you win the fans. I would be like, let's continue with Matt Reeves and what he's doing. We're gonna do and please the Snyder fans. We're gonna finish the Snyderverse properly. We're gonna release the air cut. Once all of that's a wrap, we're moving forward with the reboot, and we're gonna start a new vision with the DCU. Cool. You see how easy that is? He could have done that since day one, but James Gunn and his ego has blinded him so much that he doesn't see past that. He just doesn't see that, and it's crazy because it's like, yo, like why do you not do this? Like, why are you not pleasing the fans? It's not that hard. This is not rocket science. This is just catering to your audience and giving your customers a little bit of everything so that they can all eat and we all win together. You guys make money as a company. We as fans get more content, get more whatever you want, and we all get to enjoy. That's what I like about Marvel. Marvel actually tries to cater to everybody. Sometimes it doesn't fully work, but for the most part, it does. And even though it does flop, they're still doing good because, of course, it's Marvel. They're already established. It's a well-known brand, so like they know what they're doing and stuff like that. And but it's gotten also bad. We can't say that it hasn't. It's caught up to them, and like it's just completely a mess where they're at right now. This whole thing with this reboot is unnecessary, completely unnecessary. James Gunn has one job, and that one job, he's doing a bad job at it because all he's doing is just completely ignoring the fans on all sides because he's trying to build an audience. But what audience are you trying to target? Who's your demographics? Who really is your core audience that you're trying to target? You're not targeting the Snyder fans. You're screwing around with the Matt Reeves fans. You're trying to pretty much cater the Marvel fans, if you want to say, that want to see DC turn into Marvel for years since the beginning. With Man of Steel, of course, we've been seeing that. And like, who's your real core audience? This Superman with the trunks on the outside. For crying out loud, we're about to be in 2025. We're not back in the 1930s when that was still acceptable. We've gone away from that. Instead of moving forward, they keep on moving backwards. They had a badass opening intro logo with all the DC characters. And what do they have now? Embarrassing. They have the old Superman that's in cartoon breaking the chains. Like, how do you downgrade? And every time the downgrade is worse, it's more cringe, it's more embarrassing. I'm like, they need to really stop this. Like, it's gotten to the point where it's like, you guys really don't care. It's like they're trying to set themselves up to fail on purpose. And this is where I've been saying, and I've been calling it for a while. I'm fully convinced James Gunn has been sent from Marvel and Disney to fully rip apart DC from the inside outside. There's no other logic explanation. There just isn't. Honestly, he has turned everything at DC into a full on Marvel ripoff. And it's sad because DC has always been dark. DC has always been serious. It has always been brute. I don't care what you tell me. The 60s was a different time. The 70s, 80s, when we got to the 90s and we got Michael Keaton as Batman in the first Batman movie, how dark is that movie? It's dark. Look at it to the day of today, it's still dark. It's aged and it's still dark. We got Batman Returns, and that one was even darker. And then what happened? We jump into Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, and they were completely cringe comedy, and it didn't work. The Schumacher era, they didn't work. Fans didn't want that. People wanted Michael Keaton to come back and to reprise his role for Batman Forever. And then what do we have? a whole comedy, a whole shit show that did not work. And the same thing has been happening now. And then what happened after that? Okay, we got Christopher Nolan. And then from there, it's what we get with the Snyderverse, bringing us to where we're at right now with Robert Pattinson. Again, they're in that dark time. Now, what's happening again? With James Gunn being in charge, it's like history is repeating again. But this time is even more embarrassing because now let's not move forward with a good logo for DC Studios. Let's downgrade it. How can we downgrade it even more? Every time it's more and more of a downgrade. It's like, are you guys not really looking at the IPs that you have? You have gold, but you're not keeping it polished. You are letting it completely catch rust. What do I mean by that? You're just letting your IPs slowly rot away. How? How many Batman reboots do we need? Too many? No, we don't need that. How many Superman reboots do we need? None. We don't need that. It's like every single time a new director comes in, they want to do a reboot. After James Gunn, I'm telling you right now, there's no other director coming besides Zack Snyder. This is going to be a proven fact, and we're seeing it. Like I've been telling you guys, this whole DCU is right now in limbo, and it's about to fully fall. It's already crumbling, and we haven't even officially started, if you want to say, with the meat and the potatoes of what this whole reboot is about. You have Creature Commandos that started off with what they have now, like 3 or 4 episodes or whatever this week is going to bring out, like 4 or 5, something like that. Cartoons. You're going to start a new universe with cartoons that are raunchy and very explicit, very sexual, very disgusting, right? That's okay. That's completely fine, right? The hypocrisy of the studio. But then when Zack Snyder wanted to put, a little bit of hardcore this and a little bit of hardcore that, that was a problem. The studio kept on giving him crap and he couldn't do certain things. It didn't have to be nothing sexual. It's just it's more brute, it's more badass because you have some sensitive fans that are like, "Oh, I can't take that. I can't deal with that." But that's what a lot of people want, and that's what's selling at the time. Now, what do we have? It's completely a circus. It's all comedy. Everything is right now a joke with a joke. I'm telling you guys, when we look back, excuse me, when we look back 5 years from now, right? At the time of this recording, when 2024, when we look back 5 years from now, we are going to see, and the future fans are going to say, what the hell happened during that time? Because it's not gonna age well. It's not going to age well. The Suicide Squad with James Gunn has not aged well. It really hasn't. These jokes that they're putting in Peacemaker, it's not going to age well. All of these shows, Creature Commandos, it's not going to age well. All of this is completely cringe. And every time I see it, I'm like, this isn't going to age well. This is going to be horrible. And people are not going to watch it in the future. When you pick up Man of Steel, you can go right now and put it in your wherever you watch it, DVD, Blu-ray, stream it, whatever. Go and watch it. 10 years later, and that movie still holds up like if it was released within the past 5 years. You know what that's called? That is quality. That right there is what quality is about. Even though those graphics, the CG scenes, are old 10 years, they still hold up and they're still amazing. Now you go and see the Suicide Squad within the past, what, 5 years? Because it was released during like right after the pandemic, during that time, like 2021. Look at it from that to now. It's completely, it's just cringe. Every time it's like, I can't watch this. I really can't. First 5 minutes already starts off horrible. When you're watching Man of Steel, you already know you're in for a good experience. And then the quality in it, the acting, the cast, backgrounds, the story, like everything. It's just wow. Like, why didn't this studio fully continue with what Zach was doing? If WB would have allowed Zach to fully cook the way that Netflix has allowed Zach to do his thing at Netflix, I guarantee you right now, we would have already had, or probably would have been getting ready to see Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 3. And it would have been completely concluded. Everything would have been wrapped up. Who knows where we would have been at? But again, WB trying to play Marvel games, still trying to find themselves till this day, over 10 years, and they're still trying to get off of phase one, and they still cannot do it. They think that with James Gunn, oh, well, he's from Marvel, he knows his thing, he knows what he's going to do. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. I knew it since the beginning when they announced that he was going to be the one being in charge, that that was going to be a bad idea. And look at how everything has been going down. Everything every time gets more and more down. And it sucks because it affects all of us, the fans, whether you're on the Snyderverse, Matt Reeves, on the Nolanverse, whatever you want to, classify yourself as a fan, it's affecting us because nothing is adding up and everything is slowly steering away into what James Gunn wants, how James Gunn wants it, what his vision is. He doesn't care about nothing. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about me. He cares about what his quote unquote legacy is going to be. And in the way, he's going to crush everything that doesn't fit his vision, or if you're not down to bend the knee in front of him, because he loves that. He loves to humiliate people. And we saw recently that James Gunn was making fun of Zack Snyder and, of course, the Justice League. We already saw it in Peacemaker when we saw how he disrespected the Justice League. Come on, the biggest IP characters in a team, squad, whatever you want to call, with the Justice League, and James Gunn disrespected them in Peacemaker. Completely unacceptable. If I was a studio, I would have never allowed that to be released. I would have been like, you better reshoot that and film something else, but you're not disrespecting our IP, our characters, the way that you're about to do. That's a big no no. All right. Now, with everything that James Gunn is trying to put, we already know what he's about. It's only about what James Gunn wants. He's trying to do this like Guardians of the Galaxy, the same way that he did with all three of those films, including that Christmas special, whatever it is. Excuse me. It's just completely like words can't even explain and tell you how bad this is going to backfire on the studio. If the studio really wanted to keep the fans happy, they would just go ahead and give us what we want. Everybody, not just one group, everybody. They can go ahead and cater and finish the Snyderverse like they keep on saying on an Elseworld, on a different timeline. I don't know what's so difficult. I know why. You know why? Because James Gunn and his ego, he doesn't want no type of competition. Because if he has Matt Reeves' Batman and his universe fully established, James Gunn knows that with his ego, everybody's going to be looking at that. And he can't have Zack Snyder because he knows that he can't deliver like Zack Snyder. He knows that David Ayer's Suicide Squad is 5 times better than what James Gunn put out. And that's why James Gunn doesn't want none of this to come out. All of that's sitting in the vault. Another thing, too, we already know the deal with Batgirl. Batgirl, I'm starting to think it wasn't as bad as they portrayed it was going to be. James Gunn just doesn't want Batgirl to come out because, of course, it makes sense with what he said for The Flash and Aquaman 2. He didn't want to, quote unquote, lead us into something that wasn't going to happen. Because, of course, we already know back in what, 2018, 2019, there was rumors that Henry Cavill was going to get replaced by David Cornsweet. And what happened? Let's fast forward time. Here we are, about to enter a new reboot that nobody asked for. So the snake was lurking for years in the studio. The studio knew about it. And what did the studio do? What didn't they do? Let's rephrase that. What didn't the studio do? They lied to us, the fans, with Black Adam. How? They rushed and they got Henry Cavill. All right, cool. I appreciate that. I thank The Rock for that because he pulled strings and he did what he had to do through a regime that was the Homatoverse, that was a pain in the ass, making Zack Snyder's life miserable while he was at WB. And then, of course, from that time, transitioning into what we were getting with James Gunn, because now he's about to take over and he's going to be running DC Studios and he's overseeing all these movies after Black Adam, including Black Adam. And all of those movies tanked. They all did bad at the box office. And every time it was worse and worse. We, the fans, have had enough. We're tired at this point, and we're like, you know what? While it's closed, we're just not going to be watching it. And that's exactly what happened. It all started going down. This is why I'm telling you, Superman is no exception. It's going to tank bad at the box office. It's not going to make the numbers that they're expecting. And it better surpass $1 billion at the box office. Because if it doesn't, and we already know it's not, it's going to hurt the brand more than what it is. They're putting all their eggs in one basket, meaning the studio, trying to rely and trying to say, well, James Gunn's going to be the solution. No, he's not. It's not going to work. This is literally like, I don't know, like it's just a sandcastle. There's no foundation. When Zach was there was a foundation. It was on concrete. But what happened? WB didn't let Zach fully develop his vision because WB was so desperate and they wanted that Marvel money. And they're still trying to get that Marvel money. It didn't work. It's not working and it's not going to work. That's the sad but beautiful part about it. When it came down to what the Flash was going to be, they lied to us. And they're starting to do the same things right now again. How? Very simple. If today you've been on the internet, I'm sure you've seen already all the ads about James Gunn and his trailer and everything for Superman. Excuse me on that. So, what are they doing? Very simple. They're starting to do the same thing like what they did with the Flush. Oh, the Flush was the best movie that, I've seen and everything. They're hyping it up and trying to make it like, oh, wow, the Flush is going to be the movie of the year. And look at how bad that movie did. The same thing with Blue Beetle. Remember, when James Gunn first introduced Blue Beetle, he was like, that's going to be the start of his DCU. And what happened? That movie tanked. And what did he do? He cleaned his hands and he's like, no, 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 it's not going to be that one. It's going to be Superman. And then what happens? He cleaned his hands again and he's like, oh, well, Creature Commandos is going to be the start of the DCU. Remember, he has said that. He has said all these things. And then he backtracks. Because why? Because they're not working. James Gunn knows we're onto his lies. James Gunn knows that we are all watching like a hawk. We're all ready to see you better deliver, but we already know he's not. And the handful of fans that he has is not enough. It's not going to save this studio. This studio is in critical condition financially. This is why, like I've been saying, and I shared that post with Comcast. Comcast is now entering in 2026, what, a year from now, because we're pretty much days away from 2025. In 2026, right, at the time of this recording, they're going to do an exclusive deal with Warner Brothers, with Max, and all of their streaming services. Is this coincidence? No. This is what I've been telling you guys. And a lot of people are not paying attention. They're seeing it, but they're not paying attention. This is why I'm telling you. The hints and everything is right before us. Zack Snyder is back. Remember, he announced it recently to do that 300 prequel or whatever it is that they're going to be doing for Max. That's one start. The foot is already inside. David Ayer is also back. He's going to be working on a project for WB. We don't know what it is yet, and we already know that the Ayer cut is on the way. I'm telling you, Comcast has a big role to play in this because remember, they had a meeting and they, meaning Comcast, at that meeting asked and said that they wanted Zack Snyder and they wanted David Ayer back to do alternative DC content for the streaming service. Because I've been saying it for a while, people. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. I'm about to hurt some feelings, but this is the truth. The future is streaming. That's it. The future is streaming. Whether you accept it or not, the future is AI and it's going to be streaming. I'm not down with it, but that's what the future is. The same way you see in these video games like Cyberpunk and Ready Player One, they're just letting us know what's to come. Everything is going to go digital, everything is going to go online because it's easier, it's cheaper. You know how much money these studios are saving by doing that? They're saving so much money. And what did they have to do? Nothing, just put it on their streaming service. This is why Netflix is a pioneer in what they do. Because for years, Netflix are and the only company to do what they were doing. And then Disney came out and took over everything. took their idea, and now we have Disney Plus, we have Paramount Plus, we have HBO Max. The list continues. All right. But let's give credit where credit is due. Netflix is the pioneer that completely was ahead of the game. While everybody was still trying to focus on the theaters, Netflix was already putting on their streaming service. So for years, they've been winning. And that's a smart move. The future is going to be all digital. And this is where HBO Max kicks in. Now, what we're seeing is a preview of what's to come in the future. They're going to be working, and when you put all these shows on streaming, you can lie. You can lie to your audience. You can lie to your consumer. It's like marketing. Oh, look, I'm going to get you this much of views, but in reality, they're really not, because they're just trying to sell you for you can buy their service. And they could lie, they could alter all those numbers. It's just like the lottery. It's all fixes, it's all rigged, and they could get away with it because, of course, they don't have to report the numbers that they're really making. You see what's on YouTube, but they could go ahead and lie to you and say, hey, look, we had this show on HBO over 100 million views, when in reality they only had 100,000. But they can get away with it because, of course, it's their streaming service, and they can alter those numbers and make us, the fans, believe, oh wow, everybody's really watching it, just so they can get subscribers. But we already know what the deal is that, you know. So when it comes down to this, I'm telling you, these people, meaning WB, is going to try, including with James Gunn, to push the crap out of Superman. They're going to try to make everybody believe, hey, this is the movie that we're waiting for. No, we're not. Nobody's waiting for that. What, the handful of people? It's not going to save them. It really isn't going to save them. And they know it. WB knows that there's no hope with James Gunn. The only reason they're doing it is because they're fulfilling the contract. They have a time trying to greenlight all these movies because he knows his days are numbered over at WB. And if Comcast is going to come in and do a takeover, if you want to say, because remember, this is how these takeovers start. They don't just go from overnight. They slowly start appearing, and we've seen that with what Disney has done. Disney wants to get a little share, like how they did with Fox, until they end up buying the whole studio. And look at what they did. They bought the studio just so they can get their X-Men and all their characters back. Bravo, smart move. But look at where WB is at right now. You think that Comcast isn't interested in buying and acquiring the whole company of WB? Of course. They have a streaming service. They can milk it with that. They have these IP characters. They know that there's still a huge demand for the Snyderverse. You think that they won't want to continue it and restore it? Of course they will, because they know that it's money. You think that they won't move forward and do more stuff with Matt Reeves? Of course, because they know there's still an audience. Now, are they going to want to move forward with James Gunn? I highly doubt that. You know why? Because they know, and I'm sure they're aware of all the backlash of what James Gunn has been doing. Things are not working with him. Fans are not happy. Consumers are not happy. Most of all, shareholders, investors, their stocks. Don't even get me started on the stocks. We've seen how they've been going low and low every single time, and that isn't saving them. So that tells you. Remember, in the end, these corporations, all they care about is numbers. Their greed only leads to more and more money. I don't have a problem giving them my money as long as they give me, and I'm sure you, the customer, that gives you quality. If they give us quality, everybody's going to support it. If they don't give quality, fans are going to turn around. This is why you've seen that in 2023, all these movies flopped. It's not because, oh, fans are tired of superheroes. No, people love these movies. People of all ages, from young ones to the old ones. You know why? Because it's something about these characters that we all enjoy. Whatever it is, we all can relate one way, shape, or form. Now, when you have a stubborn, soft we want, you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. We told you, WB. We did not want Joker 2. And most of all, we didn't want it as a musical. I told y'all, I said it. Remember when they had announced it? And I told y'all, I had said that. I was like, watch. The rumors going around that it's going to be a musical. A lot of people said I was completely delusional and everything, right? Go watch my videos and you'll see. And what happens? The movie came out and it flopped. I said it. I even said it. Remember, I was like, they think that with Lady Gaga is going to help them. And what happened? It didn't. It tanked. And the same thing is going to happen with Superman. They think that because James Gunn is from Marvel and he did under his belt, he has Guardian of the Galaxy, and everything that he did is going to save the company. It's not going to save the company. On the contrary, it's about to hit rock bottom. I wish I could tell you, hey, it's going to be amazing. It's not. That trailer is going to show you what is on the way. I'm telling you. Get ready because it's going to be a complete copy and paste of Guardians of the Galaxy. There's so many hints, and it's obvious that exactly what James Gunn has done with Guardians of the Galaxy is what he's going to be bringing right here to DC with that same style. Nothing is going to change. It's going to be the same thing. James Gunn doesn't care about anything or anyone unless it's James Gunn. It's not. All right. All of these years, and there's still no script. That's not coincidence. It's not. It's this is why I tell you all these things are not coincidence. All right. So, like I said, in the end, it's not going to work with James Gunn right. This Superman trailer is going to be bad. The movie is going to tank. And in the end, all of these projects are going to get canceled. In the long run, all of these things are just not going to be working. Everything that they're announcing and trying to announce, it's completely not going to work for the studio. It's going to backfire. And everything has a completely, cause and effect. And the cause is what we're seeing right now. The effect is going to see, you know, is what the studio is going to see that they're not going to be making money. They're not going to be making any profit. And when they see that Superman does not deliver the way that they think that it's going to deliver, this is just going to completely backfire on them to the fullest. And they're going to have to think of what are they going to do next. The next thing that they have to do once everything with Superman flops is that WB is going to have to really consider and say, what do we do? They're not going to stop doing, what do you call it, a universe because they know that there's so much money to make off of it. But they have to seriously look at it from the big picture and say, hey, look, it's not working without Zack Snyder. And they know it. They know that it's not working without Zack. And when it comes down to it, they're going to have to restore the Snyderverse. There's no and ifs or buts. They know that without Zack Snyder, nothing more can be done. They know that without Zack Snyder, nothing more can be done. All right, let me know if you guys hear me good because this connection apparently keeps on dropping randomly, and it's kind of sus. But yeah, just when it all comes down to it, we the fans, we know what's up. We already know exactly what's going on, and it's just completely going to be, like it, it's just ridiculous right now, and words can't even describe how and what this studio is doing. They clearly have no idea what they're doing and how they're doing it. They think that with Superman, it's going to work, but we already know that it's not going to work. We see through them crystal clear. We see through the studio. We see through the lies of James Gunn. We see that Peter Safran's another bozo, along with David Zaslav. And David Zaslav is trying to sell the studio by the end of this year, which is only a few weeks away. Nobody's going to buy the studio in the condition that it's in right now, unfortunately, because one, stocks are so low. Two, they're in so much debt. Three, they don't really have good content right now. So why would somebody that's a big studio that can afford them want to invest in them now? It makes no sense. I wouldn't. That's like it's too much. The damage is too much. So what are they waiting for? For these stocks to continue to going down. And once they reach to a certain point where they know that they can't, like refuse the offer, they're just gonna have to sell. That's it. They're going to have to sell. And with the way that WB is right now about to do this team up, if you want to say, with Comcast, I think this is the right move. And I see that Comcast, in the end, is going to have to buy WB because they know that there's money. WB can't do this on their own anymore. They just can't. They can't. Superman is the final blow to this company. Superman is not going to save this company. Superman, on the contrary, is going to put them more in the red, in the negative financially, because it's not improving their company. It's just making them sink more into debt. There's so much that a company, a person, or anyone can absorb when it comes to debt. And WB is in the financial bubble where this bubble is about to burst. It's already filled with so much debt. One more, which is Superman, it's not going to help them. This is where the bubble's going to burst. And once it bursts, all the alarms are going to go off at WB symbolically, not literal. And they're going to be running around and say, what do we do now? What is the solution? Very simple. The solution is you have Zack Snyder, you have David Ayer. Release the air cut and start making money off of that. And while that's going on, announce the restoration of the Snyderverse and watch how all your stocks and everything start going up. And if Comcast is the one to acquire, which I firmly believe and I see it will happen, that they end up buying, if more than 50% of WB, that right there is going to be good for business because Comcast knows that they can milk so much out of this IP. And no, Disney cannot buy it because there's laws here in the United States that one corporation cannot own everything. There's a certain point to a monopoly, and Disney cannot own these characters. They cannot own their competition. They can own certain things with what they already have, but they cannot buy WB. No matter what they try, and no matter what some people might say, Disney will never own DC. They would love to, but they can't because by laws, it's not allowed. So this would be a perfect score for Comcast. And I see it with this whole merger, whatever they're going to be doing in 2026. This is how things start off. Do a fresh take. You already have Zach. You already have David Ayer. Continue it. Don't stop it. There's profit, and you know that you will win with all of your fans. Look at how Sony is right now while we're on the topic. Sony has done the damage to their own brand when it comes to the Spider-Man verse or whatever you want to call it. What did they do? What I've been saying for a while. How do you have Spider-Man, another big IP? You make spin-offs. You do Craven the Hunter, you do Venom, you have Carnage, you have Morbius, the list continues. But you don't have Spider-Man? Make it make sense. That's the same thing with DC. You have all these spin-offs, all these movies, all these shows. Where's Batman during all of this? The Penguin is a perfect example. While the Penguin is going on, where's Batman? Is he sleeping? Is he at home washing his tights like Joker said? What is Batman doing while all this mess is going on? I get it, he can't be everywhere, but at least hint and show, not wait till the last episode to tell you where Batman is. See what I'm saying? The same thing with Sony. Sony waited too long. They should have started their whole cinematic universe R rated. The same how WB started off their universe with the DCU, how they wanted to do with Batman vs. Superman. That was R rated. Fans wanted that. Sony did it in the end. It didn't work. Look at how bad Craven the Hunter has flopped at the box office. I'm sure it's a good movie, but seeing the leaks and things that already came out, they don't know how to perform it. Yet they have these awesome IPs. The same thing like WB, you know, and they completely dropped the ball. All they had to do when it comes to Sony was you have Toby Maguire, you have Andrew Garfield, you have a multiverse, you have three strong ingredients. The same thing with WB. WB has the multiverse. Just the multiverse alone, it's a strong ingredient to any cinematic universe. Problem solved. DC, the same thing. You have the Flash. Open the multiverse. You've already done it in the Flush. We saw it. Utilize it. Open another timeline for the Snyderverse to continue. None of what James Gunn is doing has to connect with Zack Snyder, nor does it have to be on a separate timeline or where they left off. Boom. The solution is solved. The same thing with the Transformers. You want to use characters from the Bayverse, you want to use the ones from whatever it is, go ahead, do it. Multiverse. You want to use the ones from whatever it is, go ahead, do it. Multiverse. But these studios don't see it. It's that easy. I don't get how they introduce something and they're like, I wonder why it's not working. Why aren't people coming out to the movies? News alert, you have a multiverse. You have Andrew Garfield that wants to reprise his role. Toby Maguire. You have all these characters that made you money. The same thing in all these other universes. Utilize it. It's not that hard. Deadpool just showed you with Wolverine how you do a multiverse. You don't have to do so much. It's very simple. You bring in, you do a little what nostalgia service, cater to the fans of the old generation, the new generation, and boom, there you have it. That's the formula. It's not that difficult. The way that things are right now, the Snyderverse is going to get restored. It is going to come back. That's why I laugh and I chuckle when some fans say it's not going to happen. You know why? Because they said the same thing with the Snyder Cut. Oh, the Snyder Cut isn't going to happen. You know how many people said that it would never happen? And what do we have now? The Snyder Cut. And the same way that we got the Snyder Cut, we'll be having soon, and we'll be enjoying it. That's the formula. It's not that difficult. It's not that hard. the air. It will move on. That it's going to happen. They know that it's going to come. They know that it's going to happen. But to see on Thursday what this trailer is all about. And I'm telling y'all, get ready to be watching from beginning to an end. Cringe, because that's exactly what this trailer is going to be. I'll tell y'all, I'll be like, all right, cool. But we already know, and I have no expectations, honestly. Peacemaker, the Suicide Squad, Creature Commandos did not impress me as a fan, as a consumer. And if I was an investor, I would be right now upset because I'll be like, yeah, this isn't going to work. Superman is going to be next. And what we're going to see in Superman, it's not going to be the Superman that you think it is. This is going to be something All right, what up again? Sorry about the issues with the technical, all that good stuff. But yeah, if you're still here, I appreciate you for watching and all that good stuff. For bearing with that. Sometimes technical difficulties happen, and especially with this whole live streaming and stuff like that. But yeah, like I was saying real quick, this whole thing with James Gunn is not going to work. This DCU is not going to solve anything. On the contrary, it's just creating more problems for the studio and the way that things are right now. They're not running smooth. They're starting off bad, and it is what it is. But you know, we just have to see what's gonna come from this. We already know what's gonna come from it, but in the long run, just seeing what the studio has allowed to happen, they just pretty much have done this to themselves. They should have just continued with what they had, and this reboot was not necessary. And here they are. Here they are. It's again going to backfire on them, and it's a shame because in the end, nobody's gonna win. In the sense where like the fans are not winning. The studio's not winning. Everything is so divided, and it shouldn't be like that. But this is where it's at because this studio has allowed this. If you know the studio would just listen to the fans and give the fans what they want, then they wouldn't be in this situation, and everybody would be winning together. But unfortunately, we already know what James Gunn is about. We already see what this reboot is all about, and all those projects that they're announcing and trying to announce, they're not gonna come forth. They're not gonna happen. One, because we won't make it that far into this reboot, and we already know that James Gunn's contract once is up. I think it's within the next 2 years or something like that. They're not gonna renew it, and it's just not gonna. It's not going to work. It really isn't going to work, and they know it. Meaning the WB, studio knows that it's not going to work, and we the fans see through this. We know that this is not going to work, and in the end, they're just gonna have to give the fans what they really want, but the hard way. And by then, hopefully, a new studio has acquired them, and just things go a different route. But we already know that good things are coming. Not with James Gunn, not with this whole DCU, but the return of the Snyderverse. It will make a comeback, and a lot of people are like, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen. It's already in the works. This DCU isn't going to save the studio, and we just see through them. But it's a shame. It is what it is. But here we are. And again, seeing while staying on the topic and changing the topic is looking at how Sony has also done with Spider-Man. It's like how like how do they allow this? It's wild, but it's not a shocker. And the way that things are going on with that studio, Marvel is trying to get back their characters, and you can't blame them. But it's gonna be a long time before Marvel actually acquires, all the Spider-Man IP again. Like, yeah, Sony's not gonna give that up anytime soon, even with the flops that they're putting out. As long as they're doing what they have to do, that's all that matters. But yeah, so I'm about to get going. I appreciate everybody for watching, for tuning in, all that good stuff. So we'll keep posting. Look out for the new videos and all that stuff that's coming out, especially with Thursday. Once we see that trailer, don't be surprised if they put it out probably on Wednesday, just to surprise everybody and stuff like that. But again, there's not enough attention and not enough fans that are going to help and save this company with this reboot and what they're trying to do. But it is what it is. This is where we're at. We will stop at nothing. We already know what the business is, and we will keep an eye on everything that's going on. But yeah, so thanks for watching. Catch you on the next stream. Thanks again for being patient with that whole technical difficulty and stuff like that. Sometimes these things happen, but at least we got through it, and here we are. So again, thank y'all for watching. Y'all stay safe. Catch y'all on the next one. All right, peace.